An organ is what we get when multiple tissues work together in order to accomplish something. And this is something that the individual tissues would not be able to accomplish. So organs are a little bit more specialized, more targeted in terms of what they are doing. Some examples of organs would include things like the heart, which is specialized to pump blood through the body, the brain, which is specialized to process signals and allow us to make decisions, and it's also protected inside of our heads. The small intestine is very specialized for allowing us to absorb nutrients from our food. So all of those are examples of organs that are more complex. They would not be able to do their jobs if they were made of just one single tissue type. So there have to be multiple tissues present in order for these jobs to be carried out. Let's focus in on the small intestine just for a specific example. We'll consider the different tissues that are present here. So in the last video we saw, there were 4 major tissue types. In the small intestine, okay, we have epithelial tissue. Epithelial tissue is what lines surfaces. This is lining the inside surface of the small intestine, and it has a couple of really key jobs. In the small intestine, the epithelial tissue secretes mucus, and this just provides a sort of like a lubrication. It's something that allows the food to be able to slide along through the digestive tract. And then that tissue also, it's just providing a surface area. And that surface area is really important because that's where nutrients get absorbed through. So the epithelial tissue that's in the small intestine, it actually has a whole bunch of little projections. It's almost like little fingers sticking up. They're called microvilli. And those projections just really help to increase the surface area, which provides a huge area for nutrient absorption to happen on. So this tissue is providing a couple of really key roles here in the small intestine. But that's not all that has to be present. In order for us to successfully absorb and make use of those nutrients, we also have to have a lot of other structures present. We have to have connective tissue right underneath the epithelial tissue. What this does is it provides sort of like a home for things like capillaries, blood capillaries. So once we absorb the nutrients, right, through the epithelial tissue, where does it go? Somehow it has to make it into the bloodstream. And that's going to be due to the presence of these capillaries, which are living in the connective tissue. There are also lymph vessels. These are tied into our immune system, actually. These provide a line of defense. So if we ingest food that has some pathogens on it, maybe some bacteria or other things, these lymph vessels help to capture those pathogens so that they don't cause infections in our bodies. And then we've also got, and we've mentioned this one already, smooth muscle. Smooth muscle has to be present in the walls of the small intestine so that we have a way to move the food along. If there was no muscle, then the food would just kind of sit in one spot, and that wouldn't be good. We need the food to keep moving along, and eventually the waste, the things that were not digestible, needs to be passed out the back end through the anus. So all of those different tissue types are necessary in order to allow the small intestine to do its job. Let's take a look at an organ system. So organs often work together. They work as a team. The small intestine is no exception. We're going to take a look at the digestive system. This is one of the 11 major organ systems that vertebrates have, people included. And just as an example, let's think about the digestive system. So we were just talking on the last slide, we were talking about the small intestine. That's just one organ in this whole lineup. The digestive system starts at the mouth, right, where you take in food. The food then travels down the tube that goes to your stomach. That tube is called the esophagus, which leads to the stomach. The liver is pretty nearby. The liver has a role in digestion, producing digestive substances, bile, which helps with the digestion of fats. And then the small intestine, which is followed by the large intestine. This is where a lot of our water absorption takes place, is in the large intestine. And then finally the anus, the opening that the waste products leave from. So all of those work together in order to act as the digestive system as a whole. Organ systems, like the digestive system, are key to the survival of an animal, of animals, of people. The organ systems all have interconnections, which is pretty interesting. So the digestive system, it's not just an isolated system. It has to work together with the nervous system, with the immune system. It has to work together with these other systems. They have to coordinate. And in fact, these organ systems are so key that even if just one of them fails, that's actually going to jeopardize the survival of the organism that we're talking about. So all of these organ systems, if one fails, in the case of people, that would mean that the person needs medical help very quickly, or else they may not survive. So organ systems are major systems in vertebrates.